Hi friends, Aitherea here, and it is finally time for my Yap review of Nikki. So I have been playing this game for probably about a month and a half at this point, and it's kind of been a roller coaster of thoughts for me because I feel like my first impressions of the game, when I first got into it, I was honestly kind of overwhelmed by all of the gotcha systems because it kind of throws a lot in your face at once, though I did get used to it and kind of figure it out pretty quickly. But because of that, I remember feeling at the beginning when I very first started playing the game, I remember feeling kind of skeptical about it. I was worried that it was going to be a bunch of boring farms to just check off all the boxes in each of those different gotcha systems that had been thrown at me. So I was really worried that the game would just be a bunch of chores. And spoiler alert, right now it kind of is, but we'll get to that later. Those were my first impressions. Next, I would like to talk about the story because when you first get into the game, yeah, it throws all those gotcha systems at you, but you don't have to worry about them too much because there's a lot of story ahead of you, and at least for me, that was kind of my focus, was just playing the game, getting to know it, and I knew I would get to know all of the systems over time as I played, and they really they seem overwhelming, but they really aren't as difficult as I was, I guess, worried about or thinking that they might be. But anyways, so the story itself, is it any good? Well, personally, I enjoyed the story, but I did find it a bit strange because I felt like it was very childish. Like the way that it was written, it almost felt like it was written for very young girls, like an audience of honestly 12, not maybe even younger, 10. It was just the overall word choice, the way that they talked, and also the characters being very kind of goofy looking, like the Fey-wish sprites. It was just very kiddie in general. Now, on the one hand, I appreciate this in a sense because I really liked how overall wholesome and feel good the story is. I kind of sometimes like this kind of story. I like it when something is feel good, wholesome, not too gritty or intense or serious. Sometimes these kinds of stories are really right up my alley. Actually, most of the time they are. So I did appreciate that aspect of it, but it definitely was something where I was like, you can still have these elements of a wholesome, feel-good story without it being childish. And it's really hard to describe what I mean by childish, but it really felt kind of like watching a kid's TV show and not you know how Disney will purposely kind of, especially in the older 2D films, make certain jokes or subtle hints or implications, and it's for adults because they know that adults are watching the movies as well. But even in general, a lot of Disney movies don't necessarily feel childish, even if they're meant for an audience that is younger, and even if they're rated PG, a lot of adults can and do to this day enjoy Disney movies. Where with Nikki, I feel like it didn't have that same level of maturity. It really felt like a kids show that you would turn on TV for, a younger audience. And it doesn't super bother me, but I do wish they would age it up just a little bit. Keep the wholesomeness, keep the feel-goodness, keep the idealism, because it's very idealized. That kind of stuff. Keep all of that, but just write it in a way that feels a little more mature, because the truth of the matter is that most of the people playing this game are adults. And the other thing is, it's a gacha, and personally, if I had a child, I would never let them play a gacha game. That's just, it feels like you're setting up your kid to become a gambler, and I just would never do it. I'm not trying to judge anyone who maybe would let their kid play a game like this because it is kid-friendly, except for the whole gacha aspect of it. So I'm not trying to judge anyone that would. I think it's something where, as a parent, as long as you're involved, it can be fine. But I'm just saying, the type of game it is, to me, gacha games really shouldn't be something kids are playing. So then to have the story be written so childishly was just kind of strange. So, I mean, I'm one of those people that I honestly just like to enjoy stuff. So it wasn't a big deal for me. It wasn't like I was about to go on Twitter and complain about it and whatnot. And I still think the story was overall really cute and positive, and I enjoyed that. And I enjoyed it. I will say I enjoyed it. But if you're someone who's really picky about story and you want something more mature, and maybe you're at my channel because you're a Final Fantasy XIV lover, this is not on the level of Final Fantasy XIV or other like well-known games that are, known for being good because they've got good stories. This is like a B or like a C tier story, but yeah, overall, it was a little childish, but it was still cute and still wholesome. And there were some great messages in there that I think could have been good for adults, because that was something I noticed kind of over and over, was that they were almost a bunch of little like teachable messages. That's kind of also why I felt like it was for kids. But some of those messages I think were good reminders for adults too. Another part of the story that kind of made me laugh was there was this like implication that Nikki was a misfit without many friends. And I was like, that can't be true. Like, she's the popular girl. Look at her. Have you seen her? Like, there's no way. Like, how would Nikki not be popular? Because she's like literally the nicest person on the planet. Literally always like willing to help people. She's like incredibly selfish, or not selfish. She's incredibly selfless and altruistic. So I'm like, she's pretty, she's smart, she's selfless, she's altruistic, she's super kind. Like, there's no way she's not popular as hell. But anyways, they like put her as some sort of misfit in the story because with some of the other characters, they like create this little misfit band and that's their little friendship group. And I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think that would be Nikki. I think Nikki's popular as heck back in her home world and she's just being nice. Anyway, now that I have gotten the story out of the way, I want to talk about a few of the game's other strengths before I go into my critiques, because let me tell you, the gacha is gachaing, and part of me really feels like I wish this game was an RPG. Like right now, where I'm at now is like, ooh, I have mixed feelings about it, but we'll get there. So let me talk about some of the other strengths of the game. And I think the biggest strength is definitely just how beautiful the graphics are and how that affects the rest of the game, like the outfits and all that stuff. Because the graphics are gorgeous. The picture behind me right now is a picture from Infinity Nikki. This is just a spot in Infinity Nikki where I said, I'm going to take this picture and use it as my background. Like, the game is really, really gorgeous. It's beautiful. And then because the game is so beautiful, the graphics on the outfits, like the details on the outfits are really, really good. The animations on the outfits are really, really good. There's so many of the outfits are full of sparkles. The way the fabric moves, the way the hair moves, the detail of the hair and the sparkles and the lace and just the fabric in general, it's incredible. It is incredibly done, especially if you're playing on PC or like a PS5. I know it's sometimes limited on mobile, but overall, the game is gorgeous. And then the outfits themselves. Some people have noted that there is sometimes a lack of style, like if your style is darker, more gothic, more edgy. There's some of that in Nikki, but not a ton. And so some people have criticized the game for the outfits all feeling kind of in the same genre, if you will. But for me, just in general, I think those are valid critiques, by the way. But what I want to say as a strength is that the outfits are beautiful. Like, I have a friend, I'm in a little group of my friends, we all play Nikki and we chat and it's really, really fun. I got my girly pops and it's fantastic. But one of the girls in there definitely has more of a gothic, edgy style. She notes that how she's kind of seeing a different side of herself with Infinity Nikki because she finds herself also loving the cutesy, beautiful, sparkly outfits that normally she doesn't gravitate towards. So it's one of those things where like the game is so beautiful that no matter what you like, you'll probably find something that you like in the game. Outfit-wise, you'll probably still enjoy it. And something that I find kind of funny and interesting is like, if you've been on my channel for Final Fantasy XIV, then you've probably seen me joke around about how I like hoe fits and how I tend to dress my character in 14 kind of sexy. Where in Nikki, like, not at all. I'm into like the beautiful long evening dresses, like cutesy stuff. Like I'm into all of it. If it sparkles, I want it. Like the outfits are so well designed. The clothing pieces are so well designed that I'm like, I love them all. And my style in Infinity Nikki is like way different from my style in Final Fantasy XIV. But I also actually really appreciate that aspect of Infinity Nikki, which is that it's not sexualized at all. I feel like so many games these days, and some of them I'm okay with, you know, or even like welcome, but it's just kind of a fact that a lot of games, the art style is maybe, I don't know if I want to say sexualized. Some of them are downright sexualized in an objective manner, but other ones are just more like, look at Marvel Rivals. Everybody's got a booty, okay? Obviously, the girls are maybe drawn a little more bootylicious with that cake, you know? They all have like the really nice bodies. Then the men, like I think they're a little more bootylicious, but even the men, they've got some cake back there. I know there was a meme going around about how they updated one of the male characters to have more cake. So it's one of those things where like, that to me is like, you know, yeah, it's a little sexualized, but it's not like crazy off the rails to a point where I'm like, that's gross. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't feel like, I don't know. I mean, you feel how you feel about it, right? For me, I really appreciate it when games aren't sexualized just because I feel like that's the norm. And I also feel like the type of game Infinity Nikki is, it'd be so wrong if it was sexualized. So it's like even when Nikki does have an outfit that's considered sexy, because all of the outfits have different stat points, which we're going to talk about this in my critiques part. But all the outfits have different stat points. And so there is actually like a stat point for sexy and outfits that are considered sexy. But they're nothing like the Ho-fits that I'm wearing in Final Fantasy XIV, and they never really look that way because they never really do deep cut stuff with Nikki. Nikki's 19, so like she's old enough to wear whatever she wants. But I still appreciate that all of the outfits are like, you know, a little more laid back, not super sexualized. Even though you can make a quote unquote sexy outfit, it's not very revealing, let's put it that way. And I actually enjoy that because I do think that there's not necessarily something wrong with being revealing. Like I dress my character like that in 14, but I don't know, like I said, sometimes some games just feel like they're going off the deep end and they're getting into a point of objectification that feels too far. So I enjoy having a game like this because I just feel like even the games that aren't like super objectifying are still kind of very sexy. So it's nice to see a game that is dialed back because I just think it's good to have options, okay? It's good to have options. Some other strengths of the game are that it has a really well done photography mode. So it's kind of like this game's G-pose, but it's really cool because you can easily like move Nikki around in terms of like spinning her around and like tilting the camera and all that. But then beyond that, you also get a bunch of different sliders for things like contrast, saturation, exposure, brightness, shadows. You can mess with the aperture for like a depth of field effect. There are different lightings you can choose from. There's little photo filters that you can choose from. There's a bunch of poses. It's a really, really good system. There's a few things missing from it that I'd like to see. Like in 14 and RG pose, you can place the lights wherever you want and you can use more than one at once. I think in Nikki, the placement of the lights, I don't really know that I want to see that added because I feel like that's really complicated and I kind of like the way that it places them. I just wish you could use more than one at once. That's kind of my wish for it moving forward. But overall, the photography mode is really good because the way that you can mess with those settings, you can really customize your photo in terms of things like the colors and the depth of field and all of that, and even make it look more like HD and crisp than the game does. Like it's so funny because sometimes I'll be in the photo mode and then I'll like leave it and the rest of the game will look like washed out compared to like what I was doing in the photo mode. So it's really, really great because I think part of the strength of this game is the graphics, is the outfits, and is that people want to take and share photos on social media of the game. So it's great that they made a photo mode that it's really easy to use and has a lot of these different settings that you can play with so you can really be creative with the pictures that you're taking. Another thing that I enjoyed about this game was the open world exploration. I thought that that was really fun because there's a lot of little puzzles and mini games throughout the world. So first you have like collectible items like whim stars and dews of inspiration. The whim stars you need to unlock certain things in your Heart of Infinity, which is kind of hard to explain what it is, but it unlocks like skills and upgrade skills like grooming, like pet grooming, and fishing, and all these kinds of things you can do in the game for like material collection. But then sometimes you can also unlock certain sketches, like for the miracle outfits, so you need whim stars for that. And the dues of inspiration are just a collectible currency that you can exchange with an NPC that he just gives you stuff for it. But sometimes you have to figure out, like, how do I get up there to that whim star? And then other times there's like a little door and you do like a little puzzle challenge, and that's how you get the whim star. And I thought all of these little puzzles in the game, both between the whim stars and then just like other puzzles where they have these like little wooden stands with like little flags on top with NPCs, where they have you do different games. So they can be like little jump puzzles sometimes. Sometimes it's like kicking a ball and scoring goals. Sometimes it's riding on your bike and going through all of the little, like, I'm going to call them hoops, but they're just checkpoints that you have to go through basically. So there's all sorts of those kinds of games. Then there's even like little tabletop games where one of them is kind of like foosball and you have to like score a goal. One of them is like you have these two little pieces, like I'm going to call them chess pieces, but it's not a chess game. It's like you have these two little chess pieces and you have to figure out how to get each one from point A to point B, and it's a little more complicated than you think. And yeah, there's just like all these little puzzles in the game that kind of challenge you and get you thinking. So I really enjoyed the game between like the open world exploration of finding those puzzles, finding chests and sketches and stuff, little caves and things, and then actually like doing the puzzles. I thought that was a strength of the game, and I personally really enjoyed it. Okay, so now for my critiques of the game. And I think my biggest critique is probably going to be about vital energy. So vital energy is a resource that you have in the game to spend on various other resources that you need to do things like craft sketches. And it's pretty much kind of that. Like I feel like all of it leads to like getting fashion. Because once you kind of finish like the main story quest and all of the side quests and all the puzzles, first of all, this is another big critique for me, is that there's just not really anything to do. Like, what is left after you finish the MSQ, which MSQ is main story quest. Sorry, this is just my vocabulary. But after you finish the main story, after you do all the side quests, there's really not much. And there are some people that are like, well, you can go farm chests, or you can find every single whim star in the game. You can find every single dew of inspiration. And I'm like, why? Like, why would I do that though? Because even though those currencies can be used for stuff, you get to a point where like either you've finished with like the dues of inspiration, like you maybe haven't collected them all, but there's nothing more that you can get from the NPC. So if you don't find it fun to hunt for them, which if you're done with the main story and you've done all the side quests, you've probably done, like you're probably not really interested in world exploration anymore because you feel like you've kind of seen everything. Even if you haven't found every single chest, even if you haven't found every single dew of inspiration, even if you haven't found every single whim star, you've still seen enough of the world that it's not new or exciting anymore, and the world exploration is no longer fun. So there's no reason, in my opinion, to do those things because they don't gain me anything. I have almost 200 whim stars. I don't need more. I have enough to unlock every single thing that I could possibly unlock in the Heart of Infinity. It's just that I can't unlock those things because I need vital energy. Because I need vital energy so that I can use it to get the inspiration or like collection points that I need to it's such a thing. Like I need all of these points to unlock stuff in the Heart of Infinity, and I have to spend vital energy on that thing. So there's that, right? So it's like, even if I could unlock it, even if I like go throughout the world and collect all these things, there's a lot of stuff that I can't unlock no matter how much I play, because vital energy is a limited resource that I get 350 of every single day, and that's it. And they have to like replenish over time too. So sometimes I log in and I don't know how long it's been since I logged in the day before. If I was playing late at night and then logged in early the next day, I might not even have fully replenished my energy by that time. So that kind of sucks. So it's one of those things where it's like people can say like you can do all of this stuff, but first of all, I would argue that it's not fun. Like I don't think you can consider that content or good content, because it's not fun, for one. And then for two, it doesn't have really any value. if you have completed and gotten everything you can from the NPC for the Dues of Inspiration, there's no point in getting more, not on purpose. Like, to me, opening up an interactive map and sitting there for hours going from point to point is not fun. And the other thing is, saying like that's content, or that like, oh, there's still something to do in the game, you just don't want to do it, is like, it's a completionist attitude. It's not like, oh, you haven't tried this thing, like, why don't you try this thing? It's like, no, I've tried and done everything. It's just that I'm not a completionist, and I'm not going to do something that's not fun for me anymore. And it's so weird that like people are like expecting that. And I feel like I have to make a side note to this conversation, because I've said before about Final Fantasy XIV that like, I like content lulls, and I feel like there's still a lot to do in the game, and I feel like people are going to treat me like I'm a hypocrite for feeling like I want more to do in Nikki and like there's nothing to do in Nikki, but not feeling that way about Final Fantasy XIV. But first of all, they're vastly different games. Final Fantasy XIV has a gigantic backlog of stuff to do, and I do feel like, you know, maybe there are some players in Final Fantasy XIV who have tried everything. They've tried deep dungeons, they have tried starting to level this job and they didn't like it. They've tried this, they've tried almost everything in the game, which is rare, but it's possible, especially for people that have played the game for a very long time. So in that scenario, maybe you do feel like there's not that much to do and I'd like some new content, because that's kind of how it is with Nikki. And it's one of those things where like, I don't want to like push for too much content, because it's like, I'm at a point right now where I want more content, but I also like don't want the game to be something that I have to feel married to, that I have to like log in every single day and like, oh, there's always stuff to do, like lots of FOMO, getting left behind. And because it's a gacha, there already is FOMO. Like, there are dailies, so it's like there's nothing to do in the game, right? Like, I've finished all of the fun quests and all that, right? But there's still dailies. And the dailies are worth doing because you get diamonds, which are a currency that you need to pull on the banners, the outfit banners, which the diamonds are like the free to play way to pull on the banners and get stuff you want. So it's like you kind of have to log in every day and do those dailies. So it's like that's kind of content, but again, it's not really that interesting. And it will only take like, some days I swear to God, it takes me like 10 minutes. Like, it's not even that long, but no longer than 30. But for real, like sometimes really just like 10 minutes and I'm done. So yeah, it's like I basically log in every day now and I do my dailies. They're called daily wishes. So I do all of those. And then I'll go and like groom the animals I need to groom, like that you can only groom once a day, because most materials you can just collect in infinity, but like some of them are just once a day stuff. So I do that and then I'm done. And like, there's really not much to do there. So yeah. And the way that vital energy ties into this is it's like a lot of the stuff that you might strive for is usually like, I want to be able to unlock this sketch and make this new outfit thing, because even though there's nothing to do in the game, getting new clothing is fun because it's a dress-up game, right? That's why we're playing. So if you can get new clothing, even if there's nothing to like necessarily actively do in the game, like new quests or world exploration, because there's no new maps, you could still be like, I want to make new outfits and play with those outfits in the little wardrobe and like make new outfits together, like that kind of thing, take pictures. But then like, you are slowed to such a snail pace of getting outfits, because once you finish the MSQ and stuff, not only do you not have any like diamonds for pulls, like you can barely pull on banners anymore, so you can't get outfits that way. So many of the sketches that you have require materials that you can only get by using vital energy. And there's so many things that you need vital energy for. If you want to get the miracle outfit, the Silvergale thing, then you need to use all your vital energy to increase your insight and your like gathering points so that you can gather stuff that you need to be able to make that outfit, or just to be able to unlock the sketch for that outfit. So there's like so much points that need to be put into that, into like the grooming and the fishing and all of that. So there's that. And then there's like, okay, if I want more diamonds, I can get them by doing better in the Mirror Crown and the fashion battles, because if you complete a fashion battle with a perfect rating, you get 30 diamonds and you get 10 for great. So you want to be able to get perfect, because then you get 40 total, right? But sometimes you can't get perfect because first you have to level up your outfits. And to do that, you need bubbles. And to get bubbles, you need vital energy, because while you're going through like the main story quests and all the side quests, like you have a lot of these things almost in excess because all of the quests are giving it to you. But once you get to a point in the game where you're finished and you're just waiting on that drip feed of new patches and stuff. But even when they come out with new patches and new events, it still feels like you get such a limited amount of all of these items that you need. But anyways, you need the bubbles to gear up your outfits to be able to possibly pass those fashion battles. So there's another thing to spend your vital energy on. But then you might just have some sketches in your sketches that need like the rock thingy mabobbers. It's another material. So it's just basically when you finish the game, everything that you need, you just need vital energy. Is like you can't do stuff, you can't make new outfits, you can't get new outfits without vital energy. And a lot of it is a grind. And I'm not necessarily against grinds in games, but I hope that they can be engaging. And this one is not, because this grind is basically just log in, here's your vital energy, click like 1 or 2 buttons. Now you've gotten whatever item you've chosen, whatever you're choosing to work towards, whether it's the silver girl outfit, winning fashion battles, or being able to craft some of your sketches, whatever it may be that you're using that vital energy for, it's like just a click and it's done. It's not like, oh, we're going to go and do like a dungeon to get the material that we need, and now we're going to go on to that next dungeon, or like anything similar to Final Fantasy XIV at all. Not that I expect this game to be similar. It's just, it's not a rewarding play style in my opinion. So the game's strengths are definitely the graphics, the beautiful outfits, taking pictures, but you definitely reach an endpoint in the game where it feels like there's nothing fun or engaging to do anymore. You log in just to do the dailies. If you get lucky, maybe you can make a new outfit piece, or maybe you find a sketch in a chest that you hadn't found before, and it doesn't take too many resources that you're able to just make it. You know, if you get really lucky, you find it in like Flora-Wish or something, and it doesn't even take any of the rocks that you need that you pay vital energy for. It's just kind of a crappy system. And this is why part of me is like, if this could have been an RPG, it could have been so fun, because they could have made different systems for you to, like, if they wanted to make a grind, work towards these like different cool outfits. It just would have been fun, right? Like, the reality of a gacha is always that you're never going to be able to have everything that you want in a game. And I feel like that would be okay, but I'm right now at a point in the game where I also feel very like demotivated, because my RNG, I swear to God, has gotten worse. I think they were a lot more generous in the past. And I even saw something on Twitter where someone was saying that if you were to like pay money for the rolls, it would cost like $200 to get like the current 5-star or something, which is ridiculous. Like, it's just, at this point, the gacha is gachaing, and it's really bothering me. And I think another thing that could have been really cool if this was an RPG would be the fashion battles, because the silly thing about the fashion battles is it's all based on stats. So it's not like put together a really beautiful outfit that fits this theme. It's just like put together an outfit that has the highest stats. The outfits are the ugliest things you've ever seen. They're super mismatched. They never look good. And it would be so fun, like, if this was an RPG or something similar. I feel like the system could be more like, hey, use these 3 outfit pieces, or use these outfit pieces, and it has to be this color, and like this is the theme. And you could put together, like, it would probably be kind of forgiving, so that you could put together like almost any outfit that you wanted, as long as you followed like these specific rules, like you must use this piece, and like still like win or something. Because right now it's just like the fashion battles, like it could have been a fun thing, but again, it's kind of just like, the only reason it's fun is because it's stupid. Like, it's funny because it's like, look at how ugly this outfit is. And it's crazy because sometimes the fashion battles, you're like, it's like a little dance battle fight with an NPC. And the NPC is like actually so nicely dressed. They look so good. And then you beat them and they're like, there's no way. Like, there is no way that I won that battle, because holy crap, I look so stupid. Like, I look so dumb. Like, it's so, yeah. So there's, I don't know, I feel like I want to say there's a lot of good and a lot of bad about the game, but it's just, I'm really interested to see how the game will be moving forward, because my biggest issue with it right now is just that I feel like there's really no content. It's a drip feed, and even we just got like a new patch recently, and even that, I'm like, you know, it's not that much content. Like, it's barely anything got added. The new events, yeah, I'm getting more polls, but the polls have just been atrocious. The RNG has been atrocious. It's been so bad that I'm like, I don't even care anymore. Like, it's just at a point where I'm like, this might be the kind of game that would be more fun to like play and then stop for some months until like some content builds up and then play again. But at the same time, there's that FOMO because of the outfit banners where you're like, well, you gotta log in every single day and do like your dailies so you can start building up some diamonds and stuff so that when a banner comes that you like, you can roll for it. And like if you quit and you're not paying attention to what banner comes up, you could miss like a really good banner with like a really good outfit that you really want. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what my advice would be for the Infinity Nikki team. I guess, first of all, yeah, I think the RNG should be a bit better. I understand that it's a gacha and you're a company trying to make money, but like you're really, I think, demotivating and demoralizing your player base, because that's how I feel right now, is that I'm like, I don't really even want to play this game. I don't even want to pull because like, what am I going to get? I'm not even going to get stuff that I want. Because I'm like lucky to get 1 4-star per pull, and it's like it's just bad right now. It's really bad. I've just had a really bad RNG, the worst I've ever had. Like honestly, before this patch, I was actually okay with the RNG. I thought it was actually pretty fair, and like I felt like even if I couldn't get a full outfit, I was getting a lot of stuff that I liked and that I wanted. Where like now it just feels like that's not the case. So I'm not too happy with that. But then also I wish there could be a way for the game to like still be engaging, even if there's not like a main story quest to be done. And I'm trying to kind of give the game a little bit of grace because it is a new game. So it's not like there's a backlog of content for me to do the way that there is for like a game like Final Fantasy XIV. There's no backlog. So yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I have mixed feelings about it because on the one hand, I don't want it to become a game that has even more FOMO than it already has with like the banners. And I don't want to feel like I have to like dedicate my life to it. And I like to be able to feel like I can move on and play different games. But I'm definitely at a point where like, I don't feel like I've gotten my fill with Nikki. I honestly think something that would improve the game a lot for me would just be like if there was more like 3-star sketches that I could find in the world and craft. And it wouldn't be based on like vital energy. It would just be based on gathering materials. Like I would rather have an outfit that's like you have to gather like 100 of each material to craft this, but it's like a really cute 3-star outfit that at first I found in a chest, then I had to like gather a bunch. I would rather have that kind of grind like than what we've got right now. Finally, I kind of want to just touch, I feel like I've kind of mentioned it already, on whether or not the game is free to play friendly. And I would say like yes, it is, but you will get to a point like me where maybe you feel a little frustrated, like, because you obviously have to accept, like, you know it's a gacha, right? So you do have to accept that you're not going to get everything that you want. But I think, like, you do get to a point where you feel frustrated with the system of vital energy, how you can't even craft, like, basic 3-star sketches that you found because you're like, oh, I need to use all my vital energy to work towards, like, the Silver Gill outfit, or I have to use it all on bubbles so that I can get more diamonds to pull on the really cool outfit. So it's just really frustrating. That's why I really think they need to have more 3-star sketches in the game that are not so hard to craft, that don't require vital energy. Like, why does everything require vital energy? It's literally the bane of my existence. Like, I'm so annoyed with this vital energy system. I can't explain that. And I just feel like the game would be so much more fun if you could actually get more outfits, because that's the thing that motivates me and motivates everyone, is that dopamine that you get when you get a new outfit piece that you can then, I should call it like a new clothing piece that you can then make, like, mix and match with your other stuff and make new outfits with. Like, that's the part of the game that could be fun. There could be literally nothing else to do in the game, but if you keep feeding me new clothing pieces, I will keep playing because I can keep making new fun outfits. So, like, that's why I really think they need to add more 3-star outfits, more pieces to the game that are not so stupid to get, where it's just like, you get this. Now, even if, like I said, even if you had to, like, go and collect a bunch of materials, fine, make me collect 50 materials, I don't care, but don't do the vital energy thing because it's limited, or at least give me double the vital energy that you're giving. Like, it's just So yeah, I think it is free to play friendly, but you do have to accept that you're not going to get everything, and you do have to accept that there's going to come a point where, like, maybe you just log in and do your dailies for the sake of getting those diamonds for pulls later, and you don't really play aside from that because it just gets to a point where it's not that rewarding anymore. Okay, so my overall thoughts are that, of course, I do like the game. It was hard for me not to fall in love with this game because it is so pretty, and it is a fashion game. It is a dress-up game, and of course that is so up my alley. That's the whole reason I play Final Fantasy XIV. I'm raiding for the outfits. Well, I do raid for the combat, but you get my point, is like, fashion is the true end game, and so this whole game is, of course, right up my alley. So of course I like it, and I think it was fun, and I think it was cute. It just needs some work. But if you are a person that doesn't really like gachas and you don't like gacha systems or gacha grinds, then you're probably not going to like this game. So those are kind of my overall thoughts on it. If you have played Nikki, let me know what you think of it in the comments below. And yeah, as always, please consider leaving a sacrifice for Lord Algorithm in the form of a like, comment, share, or subscribe. As always, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to my channel members for supporting me. I had to find my wave. Bye! Oh my god, I didn't even click it. Bye! There's my wave.